Who are we? Who are the American Baha'is? We cannot tell who we are by looking at ourselves or studying the United States Baha'i community from within. The only way we can tell who the American Baha'is are is by examining the statements of the Guardian of the Universal House of Justice. And these two divinely ordained institutions tell us that the American Baha'i community is remarkable to an unparalleled extent. We may not feel that way because we're well aware of our problems. We're well aware of the struggle to get a quorum for the LSA to meet, the struggle to round up the troops to come to the feast and things like that. And certainly one doesn't want to minimize the problems we face. But with this in mind, nevertheless, it is clear from the writings that the American Baha'i community is unparalleled in its character, in its significance, and its opportunities. This was the second impression that was very forcibly brought to me when we went on our little trip around the world, and that is this, that wherever we went, we found American pioneers. And wherever we found American pioneers, they were shining bright. Because they were serving the faith, they were running the committees, they were helping the administrative order function, they were climbing the mountains, they were going off into the jungle to meet the new Baha'is and to help deepen them. And I think you might well be proud of the work of the American Baha'is overseas. They are a real distinction to this country. The Guardian speaks of the American Baha'is in these terms. He said that the members of the American Baha'i community are the outstanding protagonists of the cause of God. We are the outstanding ones. I don't say this to make us egotistic, to make us relax and think we've got it all together, but I think we need to realize the capacity that the American Baha'is have, and together with that, the degree of responsibility. He describes the American Baha'is as the stout-hearted defenders of its integrity, its claims, and its rights, the champion builders of the administrative order, the standard bearers of the crusading hosts, the torch-bearers of the embryonic civilization, the chief succourers of the downtrodden, the needy, and the fettered among the followers. I think it is not generally known that in the closing months of the 9-year plan, the Universal House of Justice wrote to our National Spiritual Assembly and said that if any country in the rest of the Baha'i world is having difficulty with its goals and doesn't look as if it's going to make it, then it's up to the American Baha'is to move in and help that country achieve its goals. So our responsibility was not just the formidable goals we had in North America and the pioneering and the contributions to the fund to help overseas areas, but also if any country was lagging. It was the responsibility of our National Spiritual Assembly to guide the Baha'is to step in and help the lagging country. And that happened in the 9-year plan, and there seems to me to be a good chance it'll happen in the 5-year plan. And it'll happen because it is to the American Baha'is that the world turns in the last resort. The world Baha'i community looks to us despite the weakness we might feel, the sense of inadequacy that we might at times feel. We are looked to by the rest of the world to arise and take these great responsibilities. We might well say, well, that was written by the Guardian many years ago, but what about now? Are we still in this condition of primacy? Well, we have a very recent message from the Universal House of Justice as part of the 5-year plan in which they refer to the American Baha'i community. So we could examine it and say, and check for ourselves, are we still expected to assume this role of primacy in this plan? And yes, we are, because the Universal House of Justice refers in the 5-year plan to the American Baha'is as the vanguard of God's all-conquering host. We are called upon to be at the front, to be the vanguard, to be out in front, leading the way, blazing the trail, setting the pace for the rest of the world. The House of Justice speaks of the American Baha'i community as having an exalted station. And it doesn't mean George, who we're still trying to find all over the country. It means us here in this room. We are the ones who are called to an exalted station. We are given the great opportunity to attain that station. This is the condition of the American Baha'i community. We can best assess it by looking at what the authoritative institutions say about us. And what they say about us is that we have been called to an exalted station, a unique primacy. We have opportunities to become the envy of the world, not because of our financial strength or the intellectual strength of the United States of America or anything like that, because of the spiritual capabilities which we are endowed with the capacity to show if we will but arise. So this is where we are.